Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. So you guys can read the headline. I attempted this week to do $35 for 1 week. Now, as you saw in the notes, spoiler alert, I ended up spending, let me look at my notes. Here are the receipts. I ended up spending $41.48. But you could get it down to 35, maybe a little over 35, like some change. Really easy, and we'll go over that in a minute. So here is the way I set this up. I bought these items, and I did this based on the fact that I've been seeing a lot of these lately. So why $35? Well, it's $5 a day. It works out to, if you did $35 every week, it would be $140 a month. And then you could throw in your $10 for your incidental stuff, your toothpaste, your laundry detergent, your shampoo, your toilet paper, things like that, right? Because these aren't things that you buy every month. Like, I don't buy toothpaste every month. I don't even buy toilet paper every month. I buy toilet paper like every 2 months, maybe, so you could definitely do this. I did this in mind for someone who is single because I was very inspired by a video that Christine, who, if you know who Christine is, she is Frugal Fit Mom. By the way, her link is down below. The other women that are doing these videos that I'm going to talk about in my video, in this video, I have links below to some of their most recent videos that they did. And a lot of them are, eat for $30 a week, eat for $20 a week, things like that. But Christine had done one, and she was talking about her children who are in college and they're living outside of the dormitory for the first time, right? They're away from home. They're living outside the dormitory. I know that things are tough all over, but I'm going to say this, and hopefully it won't sound offensive. A lot of younger people in this country grew up middle class or maybe upper middle class. They didn't grow up the way I did. I grew up poor. So I grew up seeing what my mom cooked. I grew up seeing how my mom shopped. I grew up with my mom counting change to pay for things. I grew up with my mother saying to the cashier, I'm going to have to put something back, or saying to me, we can't afford that. And I think that's part of what's going on, because I see a lot of videos by people that are, I would say, between the age of maybe 19 and 30, who are like, I can't afford groceries. I can't afford to eat. I can't afford rent and car, and gas for my car and be able to eat. So that's another reason I came up with this, was because I'm single. I know that I can do this. I have pretty much always fed myself on $30 a week. This was, like I said, this was a little bit more. I'll show you why when we get into it. If you remove these 2 items I bought that I just really wanted, you would be at 35. And that's including your 2 different stores. I did Dollar Tree and I did Walmart because they are the cheapest for almost everything on this list. So before we get into that, let's talk about Dollar Tree first. Some of the things I bought, I had to pay more for at Walmart because Dollar Tree was either out of them, or in some cases, I think Dollar Tree may not be stocking them anymore. I'm not even sure the Dollar Tree still carries them. They may be things that are just really at this point too expensive to be charging either $1.25 or $1.50. Dollar Tree's also now doing $3 items. But I found, honestly, a lot of their $3 items were cheaper, especially because they were name brands. They were cheaper at Walmart. So we have a pretty good split between here. I also thought about going to my local supermarket. If you don't know what a loss leader is, if you're lucky enough to live in an area where you have a Dollar Tree, a Walmart, and then like a Kroger, or in my case, it's ShopRite or Acme or whatever, you always want to check that supermarket out, because supermarkets tend to do loss leaders. Dollar Tree and Walmart really don't. Walmart does some rollbacks. We have a couple rollbacks in today, but your supermarkets are the ones that are going to have like loss leaders. They're going to have something that's just such a rock bottom price. I very often see it on things like onions, potatoes. I saw it. My supermarket did broccoli. I did carrots this week. I wanted to do baby carrots. My supermarket on a regular basis does a pound of baby carrots for 99 cents. Didn't do it this week. Walmart's price for the baby carrots was $1.17. So I ended up getting regular old carrots for 97 cents a pound. And you will just have to chop some carrots if you try and follow this plan. So with that said, I set up this plan, not really with recipes. And I did it really not with recipes because not everybody can cook. People are very intimidated about cooking, about, getting everything right and things like that. And I wanted people to be able to kind of see not just a meal, but see how you can eat for a week with foods that you're going to use over and over again. So with that said, I did make a meal plan. Now, I have a meal planner that I got off of Amazon. Mine is like a little booklet. You have your meal plan on one page, and then when you flip it over, it has a price book on the next page for keeping track of prices, which is great because I can see a huge difference between last year and this year in the prices because I've had it for over a year. And then it's got a little tab on the side where you can write your grocery list and it rips off and you can take it to the store with you. While I was out, I did see this at Dollar Tree, and $1.25. And can you see it has like space for the different days? This would be an absolutely perfect meal planner. It has Monday through Friday, then has Saturday and Sunday over here. It's got notes over here. It's got a place over here, a place over here. You could definitely use this as a meal planner. I know it seems tedious. I get that it seems tedious, but I really think having a meal plan is the best way to really save if you're going to do something like this, because everything you're buying, you're going to use. Some of it we're going to have leftovers. We'll talk about that in a minute too. And you know where it's going. You know where the pennies are going, and you know where the food's going. It just makes your life easier. It also helps you save money. It also, you don't have any surprises. You're not going, oh gosh, it's Thursday night and I don't have anything to eat. I guess I'll just order takeout, or I'll order DoorDash, which is like $25 for like a cheeseburger now on DoorDash. I was looking at it the other day. It was crazy. So let's start with Dollar Tree. I'm going to show you what I got. Everything at Dollar Tree was $1.25, obviously, except for one thing. And it kind of threw me off. So we'll talk about that. So I was inspired by Rebecca from Dollar Tree Dinners, and I grabbed the Weilers. These are 8 of these because you're going to get tired of just drinking plain water. I got the Campbell's soup. By the way, this is $1.25 at Dollar Tree. The smaller can of Campbell's tomato soup is $1.98 at Walmart. So this is still a good deal. I got Parmesan cheese. I could not find Parmesan cheese for less than $3 pretty much anywhere. This $1.25 at Dollar Tree. Colonia is an Italian company. I've heard of them before. They actually sell them in my supermarket right in town. And it's good. It's Parmesan cheese. It does have some fillers in it. It's got some anti-caking agents. It has rice flour as an anti-caking agent. So these next couple things, we're going to talk about things you shouldn't sleep on at Dollar Tree. This is one of them. This is the Dollar Tree shelf-stable milk. It's $1.25. It's a quart. It's a quart? Yeah, it's 1 quart. At Walmart, a quart of milk was $1.60 something. So you're already saving 40 cents right there. And, in the grocery game, it's the pennies that really count, right? So the other thing I like about this is I don't drink a lot of milk. I mostly use it for cereal and cooking and, here and there, like in my tea, something like that, right? So it goes bad on me on a regular basis. So the nice thing about this is shelf stable. I can put this away, and when I go to cook something and it says you need milk, I can take it out and open it up. And because it's only a quart, I can usually get through it in, a week or 2 before it's going to go bad. Okay, here's the next thing. This is the Dollar Tree pasta. It cost me $1.25. Now, I could have gotten 98-cent pasta at Walmart. that pasta wasn't a pound. It was 12 ounces. This is 20 ounces. So for about what, 30 cents? Not even, less than 30 cents, right? I got 20 ounces of pasta. This is going to last you 2 weeks at least. So if you did this challenge and ate the way I told you to, you're going to have half this box left over to sit in your pantry. And by the way, you're also going to have this sitting in your pantry because you won't use all of it. Okay, the next thing I got at Dollar Tree. This surprised me a little bit. This is their strawberry jam. It was $1.50. It was the cheapest jam I could find. There was the other Dollar Tree jam, which was a little bit of a bigger container, but was also $1.50. But it had a lot of like weird stuff in it, including red dye 40. No, this is a supposedly natural brand. It's a little bit less. It's only 16 ounces of this strawberry jam, but it just has the most basic stuff in it. It's like strawberry pulp, sugar, pectin, citric acid. That's it. That's it. And the strawberry pulp has some sulfate. So if you're sensitive, you might get a little reaction. This is going to last you more than a week. So there you go. You already have 3 pantry items. Okay. Now let's talk about Walmart. What I got at Walmart and why. 2 of the things I got at Walmart that were so dirt cheap this week were these 2. These are on rollback. These are also on rollback. 50 cents a piece for these. You can't go wrong. These are both going to stretch your dollar. We're going to be making chili this week. We'll talk about that in a minute. You're going to make some cornbread. You need 1 egg for this. We'll also talk about that in a minute. This makes about 6 of those kind of big muffins, right? You're going to be able to use this for breakfast. You're going to be able to use this when you have your chili. You're going to be able to use this if you just want a sweet, cakey kind of snack. These, I know everybody hates string beans. Now, one of the women that I listed below, the woman that has the $20 Thanksgiving, the Soul Food Thanksgiving, which that video was amazing. I loved it. She talks about this. To make these taste better, and this isn't really a recipe, it's just a thing, just a hack. Rinse them out of the brine that they come in. Heat them in fresh water. Then, while they're still hot, you're going to throw some butter or margarine and some garlic powder, which is part of the haul this week, and some salt on these and give them a good toss. And you're going to forget that they're canned string beans. You're going to like them so much. What else did we get? All right, here's another interesting little thing. This was, let me see, how much was this? These were 88 cents. Let me see. Where did I put the mac and cheese? Oh, yeah. This was 58 cents. But can you guys see the ounces on that? These shells, because I thought they were very fancy because they're 3 cheese, are only 7.25 ounces. If you get the regular mac and cheese, the elbows with the orange cheese, it's actually, I believe, a 12-ounce container. So you'd actually get more. So even though this stuff is cheap, it's always important to see how much you're getting kind of for kind of bang for your buck, right? I'm trying to figure out what to do next. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about some breakfasts. So this is the original oatmeal, instant oatmeal packets. There's 12 in here. You could literally have 2 of these for 6 of your meals for a whole week, which you probably won't. So yeah, but good to know. And I would say, I have to say, I find these are too small for an adult. They're great for a kid, but they're too small for an adult. You're going to eat 2 of these. So, but it's okay. They're boiling water. Okay. And then of course, to go with our jam, we're going to have PB&J. All right. So peanut butter. Here's the thing. You can get something about half this size at Dollar Tree for $1.25. But this is a full pound of peanut butter, and it cost, let me find it, $1.94. So for what, 70, not even, yeah, 70 cents more, a little bit less, actually 69 cents more, you're getting a full pound. Whereas the one at Dollar Tree, I didn't get an ounce size on it, but if you've ever seen it, it's like the little shorty of the peanut butter. So go with something like this. It's a much better bargain in the long run. This is something else you're probably going to have left over next week. Brown rice. Now, I could have gotten white rice for 90, I think it was 96 cents, but I got the brown for 88. It's better for you. You're only going to use about maybe less than half of this, so you're going to have some of this left over next week too. And then let's talk about spices. I use these two spices probably more than any other spices besides salt and pepper in my daily cooking. Italian seasoning is such a great basic seasoning, and it can be used all the time, all day with Mexican food, because oregano is very much a key ingredient of Mexican food. And then there's the garlic powder. I don't really like the garlic salt. They tend to be too salty for me. But you do you. These are both $1 on rollback. You cannot beat this. You will have these. I mean, I think I still have garlic powder that's like 6 months old, and it's still good. I still use it. But I love some garlic powder. It adds flavor to literally everything. And then the other thing I got, this was a whole $1.42, still on rollback, but $1.42, was cinnamon. Cinnamon can perk up so much stuff, from coffee to like oatmeal, It's such a nice spice to have around. You can even put that in chili if you'd like. I know, I'm not kidding. All right, so we're going to get to the recipes in a minute, but I'm just going to show you a couple more things that we're going to have, that we're going to use kind of on the back burner. I got chocolate pudding. This was 98 cents, much cheaper than Dollar Tree, where it's $1.25. Why? You have the milk. This is an instant pudding. You just mix it in a pan with the milk, put it in some little cups, put it in your fridge, let it cool. When I see people doing these challenges, and a lot of people are starting to say we shouldn't call them challenges, I completely agree. This is how I live all the time, so this isn't a challenge for me. And I really don't like the connotation. A lot of times what they're skipping is this. We all need that sweet in life. We need a little bit of sweet. We need a little bit of crunch. We need these different things to kind of get us through, because they're not, we need them, right? And the next thing was bread. Look at this baby. This is huge. In fact, this is more than a pound, I think. This is 20 ounces. So it's 1 pound and 4 ounces. You can get a loaf of bread at Dollar Tree for $1.25. This was $1.94. No, I'm sorry, $42. I guarantee you're going to have leftovers from this. You could have toast every day. You could have an egg sandwich. You could have a PB&J every day. You'd still have some of this left over. It's a great bargain. You can get white. The white is also $1.42. It's up to you. Okay. So let's talk about the meals. The stuff I don't have here, but you can see it in the thumbnail, is the stuff I had to put back in the refrigerator. So the other things I got were a dozen eggs, a small cup of Greek yogurt, which was like 82 cents or something. The dozen eggs were a bargain this week. I only need 6 eggs for this week for this whole shebang. But when I went into the store, the 6 eggs were like $1.28. And for a dozen eggs, so another 6 eggs on top of that, it was $1.97. So I got the dozen eggs, right? I also got some cheese. I got sliced cheese. It was 8 ounces, was the same price as the block of cheese. And I figured it's so much easier to work with the sliced cheese. I also got margarine. It was 1 pound. It's 4 of the sticks of margarine. It was $1.24. There was one that was $1.26, I think, but I went with the cheaper one, which was Imperial margarine. I also got 2 things that are in the freezer. Okay, so we're going to go back a little bit to the issue with Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree used to sell this great seasoning blend, and it was like peppers, onions. I don't think it had celery in it, but it had red pepper, green pepper, onions, and I believe it had parsley in it, and it was $1.25. I cannot find this. I haven't seen it in almost a year. If you look at Rebecca, who's the woman from Dollar Tree Dinner, if you look at some of her stuff, she talks about it. But even her, I haven't seen her talking about it for a while. I don't think the Dollar Tree has it anymore. I think Dollar Tree caught on that it was so popular that they either couldn't keep it in stock or they upped the price and they're still selling out of it because I haven't seen it in forever. But I ended up getting the Great Value brand, which the Great Value brand has celery in it and parsley and onion and red and green pepper. It turned out to be, hold on, let me find it. Where was it? I have everything written down just so, we can talk about it. It was $1.56. So it was only what? 21 cents more than Dollar Tree? No, 31 cents more than Dollar Tree. Not a lot. And it may have actually been bigger than the one at Dollar Tree. I didn't actually remember to figure out how much it was, but we have that on the back burner. We have carrots. I already talked about the carrots. I talked about the cheese. And then we also have some mushrooms. I was going to buy canned mushrooms because they seem to be the cheaper option. They were $1.49 for the small can of mushrooms, and fresh white mushrooms were $1.76, and they looked great. They didn't look all banged up. They didn't look like they were covered in poop because mushrooms grow in, so make sure you wash them very carefully. And the other thing that we had was I got 1 apple and 3 bananas. I have kind of a weird three rule, and one of them is the 3 banana rules. I always buy 3 bananas. And if you want to know what you're going to do with the apple and the 3 bananas, let's talk about the bananas. The bananas, you're going to be able to put in here. The bananas, you're going to be able to put a couple on top of your pudding if you like that flavor. You're going to be able to have peanut butter banana sandwiches. You're going to be able to just eat some banana because you want something sweet. And the apple's going to give you some crunch. So the apple, you can chop it up and put it in here. The apple, you can chop it up with some of your baby carrots and make like a little fresh kind of, apple salad. Hello, how are you? Welcome. So what else did I get? So that was all of it. I think, is that everything? I feel like I'm missing something, but okay. No, that was everything. Now we're going to talk about why I went over budget. Okay. All right. With the weather getting colder. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't finish yet because we didn't finish with these. So I got this can of mixed chili beans. These were 86 cents. I got a can of tomato sauce. By the way, these are the better bargain. These are 96 cents a can. They actually have some green pepper in them. They have some garlic in them. They have some onion in them. We're going to add to them, and we're going to get even more. Yeah. And we got this new thing. I've never heard of this, but it looked really good. It's chili starter, and we're going to use it for chili. And it has a lot of the spices, especially spices like cumin, and it's got some dried green pepper in it. It's got some red bell pepper. It's got red pepper flakes. So it's got a lot of the stuff that you would put into chili anyway, and you don't have to buy the spices. So why did I go over budget? Because, thank you. The quilt behind me, I rescued from Goodwill. It was $7.99. I got it on Goodwill Tuesday, Senior Day. So it cost me like $7.50. Yes. For those of you that are new to my channel that are just tuning in because you saw this thumbnail, I normally talk about like fabric and vintage stuff and sewing patterns, but I felt really compelled to do this because I am impoverished. Yes, I said the word impoverished, not poor. I don't like people being called poor. If you say to me something's poor, I think it's not good quality. I don't think that someone who lives in poverty is not good quality. I think there's someone that lives in poverty. So I am impoverished. Raise your hand if you've been impoverished most of your life, because I have. And yes, thank you so much. I love that quilt. I can't believe somebody donated that. It was made as a wall hanging, and it's hand stitched. And I found her hand stitches. You can see them on the binding she did around it. Who throws that away? Look how pretty it is, right? Grandma worked really hard on that, and you give it to Goodwill when she passes? Come on. She should haunt you from beyond the grave. All right, anyway. So the reason that I went over my $35 was because I got these. Okay. I could not find a honey bear at Dollar Tree. They used to have them. I don't think they have them anymore. Couldn't find one. So the honey was $3.36. This might have been, yes, this is the most expensive thing I bought in that whole haul. between Dollar Tree and Walmart. So not bad, but it was on rollback. Good deal. You know, winter's coming. You're going to want some honey and tea if you get a little sick. And it's so nice to have some hot tea once in a while with a little bit of honey in it. You have the milk, you have a little milk in it if you like it that way. It's lovely. I am actually drinking a cup right now because I was so inspired. And tea bags. These cost me $2.18. Now, Dollar Tree used to have 100 tea bags for $1.25. Couldn't find them. I actually asked the woman about these. I said, no more. She said, no, we only get the small ones. They had these weird, I shouldn't say weird. They were like herbal teas, and it's only like 20 in the little box for $1.25. This is another thing that I think they just can't produce this stuff cheap enough to sell it for $1.25 or $1.50 anymore. But this wasn't bad. This was also on rollback. If you are not a tea drinker, you don't like honey, whatever, if you take these two out, this whole shebang, $35. In fact, I think I figured out it was less than $35. It was like $34 and some change. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to eat if you follow my directions this week. So let's talk about breakfast. Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. We have if you're watching me and you're not seeing this on the side, we're talking about how Dollar Tree doesn't even really have that much stuff anymore that's $1.25. They really don't. I'm so happy they still have that quart of milk, that they haven't put that up to $1.50, because I think that's a lifeline for a lot of people in the communities. I haven't noticed too many $1.75s. I've noticed $1.50, and then things are like $3. It's like I don't really see the in between anymore. It's very odd to me, but I get it. Food's more expensive. Dollar Tree's like every other store. They have to charge a certain extent, a certain amount to make a certain amount of money, whatever, keep the lights on. What are you going to do? We do the best we can, right? Okay, so we're going to work backwards because I did not actually set this up with too many lunches in mind. A lot of people work from home. So, yeah, and and in France, do you guys have like a Poundland type thing? Like, I know my friends in the UK, it always cracks me up that first of all, it's called Poundland, which is a horrible name. Who okayed that in the meeting? Who sat in the meeting and went, I know, let's call the store Poundland. I know that the British currency is a pound, but come on, guys. I mean, it's almost as bad as here in the States. We have this ice cream chain, Friendly's, and they have something called the Happy Ending Sunday. All of these people should be fired that were in the meeting that were like, that's a great idea. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you probably have Aldi and Lindell, which we have in the States, or Lindell. I don't know how, and then I also have people calling it Aldi. Don't know which it is, but we have those in the States, and I think you have them in France. I've never been to France. Germany, yeah, but not France. But anyway, we're going to do this backwards because you are going to be able to do something that I learned years ago. It's kind of a weird little rule that I do, and I do thirds of things. So I'll do like 2/3 for dinner with a third left over to take to lunch. You can apply that to any of the things we're going to talk about, and you can take them for your lunch. So we're going to work backwards. We're going to start with dinners, and we're going to think about the 2/3, 1/3 rule, and that's what you're going to have for your lunches. So our first dinner is going to be chili, super simple chili. You are going to take, now I did talk about the turkey, right? The ground turkey that's only $1.98 at Walmart. It's a pound. It comes in a little tube, right? Yeah. Yeah, Aldi in America is great, by the way. So we're going to start with the chili. What we're going to do is if you don't have any oil, it's okay. You can use a little bit of your margarine. You can do this on stovetop. You can do it in a slow cooker, or you can do it in Instapot. I made all of these last week, which is where I got the impetus to do this video. And I did them all in my Instapot, and it was great. But here's the key to making all this stuff taste really good. You are not going to rinse that pot once you use it. You're going to keep using it. I know it sounds crazy. but you're going to do it. So I started with the Instapot. Again, you can do it in a slow cooker. You can do it on the stovetop. I used a very small amount of oil. I then dumped about a third of that seasoning mix into that pot. I then cut my turkey in half. I had the tube of turkey. I cut it in half, so a half a pound of turkey straight into that pot. I use this chopper thing I have that's for meat. It's got like 4 prongs on it, and you use it to chop the meat. You could use a fork. You can use a spatula. You want to break up that meat as it's cooking in the pot, the Instapot, the crock pot, whatever you're doing. I added to that garlic to your taste, as much as you like. If you love garlic, great. If you don't like garlic, don't put it in at all. Italian seasoning, I maybe put in 2 teaspoons tops, not a lot, just a little bit on top, right? Kept mixing that up till the turkey started to look that lovely gray color that turkey gets. But hey, it's cheap. To that, I added this can of beans, unrinsed, including all of the juice that was in here. Because if you look closely at this label, it says it's in chili sauce, which means that this product is doing some of the work for you. To that, I added this chili sauce, again, full of spices, good to go. I reserved 2 tablespoons out of this. The rest of this went in, stirred it all up, put the lid on the Instapot, and actually my Instapot has chili. I hit chili, I think it was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It did its thing. It was done. It was over. I took it out and I put it into 3 separate containers, and I had these were good servings. So I got 3 containers out of that. So chili, you have that like 3 times. You can either eat it 3 dinners. You can split one in half and take 2 of them to lunch. I mean, there's like a million ways you can do this. I then made rice. So here we go. I used about a cup of rice. This I did on the stovetop. It was really easy. It's 2 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. I like my brown rice not too mushy, so it was a little firmer. So that first dinner that I had was the, where are they? It was the muffins, the corn muffins that I made. By the way, you need 1 egg for this, and you need a little bit of oil. You can absolutely melt some of your margarine, some of that $1.24 margarine. You can melt some and use it instead. It's only like 3 tablespoons or something. It's not very much. So I had corn muffin, chili over rice, and then I had just a scoop of the Greek yogurt, the little container that I bought. So then I'm able to put that Greek yogurt back in the fridge, and guess what I did with it? The next morning, I had Greek yogurt with strawberry jam in it and another one of the corn muffins, and that was my breakfast. And that's why we're going to work backwards, because that's how we're going to do things. I'm going to show you how to take all the food you have and combine it to get different meals out of it. So what was the next meal I made? Okay, next meal I made was the pasta. I literally took that same Instapot pan, put another, I don't even think it was a tablespoon of olive oil. It was so small, a little bit of olive oil. By the way, I set this up starting at 0. The only thing I assume you have is salt and pepper, and you're going to add them to all these different dishes as you like it, depending on your own personal taste. In that pot, I did the same thing I did last time. I took the seasoning blend. I took about a third of the seasoning blend, right? Not even. I actually took less than a third of the seasoning blend, because you don't need quite as much of the seasoning blend for your sauce. I then chopped up some mushrooms. I put the mushrooms in with the seasoning blend. I gave it a good stir, and I started to let them see, like, the seasoning blend was still a little frozen, so it was defrosting. And so I saw the mushrooms starting to cook. I put the rest of the turkey into there. Same thing, chopped it up till I saw the turkey getting that nice gray color. And on top of that, I put the tomato sauce and my 2 tablespoons of the chili sauce. I also added salt, pepper, garlic salt, and Italian seasoning. To that, I added a lot more Italian seasoning because I really wanted that Italian flavor in my sauce. That I literally put on slow cook for like a half an hour because all you really want to do is combine those flavors. By the way, quick hack, don't eat the chili right away. Wait a couple days to eat the chili. Let it sit in your fridge, cool down. And what happens is the flavors start to marry and they're absolutely delicious, right? Oh, and I also use some of my cheese, my sliced cheese, on top of that chili. So it's a really hearty meal. That's why I'm saying you're probably going to have some left over you can take for your lunches. You may even be able to take it for two or three lunches, depending on how much you want to eat it. So then I divided up my sauce. My pasta sauce, I had about three, I would say like that much of a container. I would say a little less than half of a cup. I'm not a huge sauce person. I like a little sauce in my pasta. I don't like it drowning in the sauce. I cooked off 2 cups dry. So I measured out 2 cups of pasta dry, cooked it off in boiling water with some salt, salty like the sea, because that's how we Italians do it. That came out to about, it was close to 3.5 cups because it was more than 2 cups when it got cooked off. I took that and I had the pasta with the pasta sauce and then my grated cheese. Oh, no, that's not my grated cheese. There we go. There's the grated cheese. The grated cheese. That's another 3 dinners. So that's 6 dinners right there. And we still have food. The next night, I took 3 of my eggs, whipped them up, put a little bit of milk in them, melted some butter in the pan. Oh, actually, before I did that, I took more of that seasoning blend because I still had another third, right? So I still had more of the seasoning blend. Sauteed that in a pan with some more of my mushrooms. And then you take it out of the pan, you put it aside, you whip up your eggs, you blend your eggs, I should say blend. You put them in the pan. When your eggs start to cook, you lay out some of your cheese slices. I think I only used like 2 because they're pretty good sized cheese slices. And it's real cheese. It's not Kraft Singles. I actually found these were cheaper than Kraft Singles. Put out my cheese, put out that blend. I had an omelet. Now, that day I just had toast. If you really for dinner needed more, you could absolutely take like a third of your apple, just like cut off one whole side of your apple, chop it up, chop up a couple of your baby carrots, give it a good mix, let them sit together for a little while, and they'll start to release their juices. By the way, if you put a tiny, tiny bit of salt on them, they actually will like really release their juices. It'll make the apple taste sweeter, which sounds contrary, but it actually works. So that's the 5th dinner. That's the 3rd dinner, but it's technically the 7th meal. One of the other meals that I had one night, and some people are going to balk at this a little bit, but we're going to talk about it anyway, is I took the box of mac and cheese. I made the mac and cheese. I did the no drain system, which if you look at the video that I linked down below for the $20 Thanksgiving soul food dinner, she shows you how to do it. And her recipe is spot on. It came out perfect. Did the macaroni and cheese. Ate about half of it. Maybe, yeah, it was about half. I had the soup, my tomato soup, which this is the condensed. You're going to add milk to this. This is going to end up being really 2 like big cups when you get done. So I had 1 cup, ate 1 cup, had some string beans, had the mac and cheese, had the cup of soup. I was fine. Put the rest of the mac and cheese aside. Now, a couple days later, I took one of those chilies, and I only took about half of the chili, and I spread it on top of that mac and cheese, and I mixed it in really good, and I reheated that mac and cheese and that chili in my microwave with a little bit, just a little bit of cheese on top, and I had chili mac, and it was fabulous. So that is 6. Let me see. What do we have? 6, 8, 7, 8. That's actually 8 meals. Plus, you're going to use some of this stuff for lunches. One day, I was home for lunch. I had a grilled cheese sandwich with my bread, my cheese, and the rest of my soup. That was my lunch. And I had a couple baby carrots on the side, but we have regular carrots this week, so you will have to chop them up. Other things you can do for lunch. All these leftovers we talked about. depending on how much you eat, you may have a lot of food left over. You can take it to work and microwave it. Take some baby carrots or take some carrots along with you. Take some of the apple with you. Take a half a banana. Take a whole banana, whatever you want. And I want to impress this on you. As a person who has grown up in poverty and still basically lives in poverty, do not be ashamed to take a PB&J to lunch at your office. If anybody gives you any crap about it, you can tell them where to go, basically. Basically. As far as I'm concerned, you can tell them where to go. But there's no shame in taking a PBJ to work. It's a really cheap but very filling, actually, sandwich because the peanut butter has so much protein in it. You get a little bit of the sweet from the peanut butter. You get a little bit of the sweet from the jam. It's a great lunch with some banana and some baby carrots. There's no shame in that lunch. Don't feel ashamed of that. Okay. So now we're left with breakfast. For breakfast, you can have any of the leftover muffins. You can have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if you want it. You can have your oatmeal with apple, oatmeal with peanut butter, oatmeal with honey, oatmeal with banana, right? You can have the yogurt with a little bit of jam in it, like I did with one of the leftover muffins as a breakfast. The other thing is we're only using 6 eggs. You're using an egg for your Jiffy Mix and you're using 3 eggs for the omelet. So if you only got a pack of 6 eggs, if that's all you could afford, you would still have two eggs left over, right? So you could either do French toast. You could do egg sandwiches, a fried egg, 1 egg, with some of your cheese on that sandwich bread, because I'm telling you, you're going to have this bread's going to be left over. You could have that at least twice a week if you wanted to. So your options for breakfast are actually, you have so many. And, I have to tell you, don't feel hemmed in by the idea that things have to be a breakfast or a lunch or a dinner. There's nothing wrong with having an egg sandwich for dinner because you just want one, because you're maybe not that hungry that night. You'll take whatever you were going to eat for dinner. You'll take it for lunch tomorrow, whatever. And then for your treats, you have your chocolate pudding, your lemonade, and I really, really wanted to get chips. I think that grilled cheese and tomato sandwich, which I love, with some potato chips and some pieces of apple, to me is like the perfect lunch. I know it sounds like a lunch for a 5-year-old, but it's still delicious and it's cheap and it's filling and it's great. I could not find chips for 99 cents. I was really hoping. I looked at the chips at Dollar Tree, and the $1.25 chips at Dollar Tree, the potato chips are the little bags, like the kind that you used to get for like less than $1. I just couldn't do it. And we didn't have any money left in the budget. So we weren't able to do it. But, if you're scrounging around in your car and you find a bunch of change, buy yourself some potato chips to go with that grilled cheese. Trust me, it's perfect. You'll love it. It'll be fabulous. So at the end of the week, you're going to have some food left over. So let's talk about what I project most people would have left over. I certainly have them left over. You may or may not, depending on how much you like to eat. Okay. So you're going to have 6 eggs. You're going to have half a dozen eggs. You're going to have bread. You're going to have oatmeal because nobody's going to eat 12 of these in a week. You're going to have jam. You're going to have peanut butter and jelly. You're going to have some tea because this is how many bags? It's 100 bags. You're going to have this for a while. Trust me. Even if you have 2 cups of tea a day, you're going to have this for over a month. You are going to have your spices. You're definitely going to have the grated cheese. You might, depending on how much cheese you use, you may even still have some of your sliced cheese. You're going to have margarine. You'll probably have some of these lemonade packets because there's 8 in here. That would be more than 1 a day. Even if you had 1 a day, you'd still have 1 left over at the end of a week. You're definitely going to have rice left over. You're definitely going to have pasta left over. Depending on how much you like carrots or mushrooms. And by the way, a lot of people don't like mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, just skip them. That omelet basically kind of becomes, it's not exactly a Denver omelet. It's not exactly a Western omelet, but that omelet is good with just cheese, the peppers, and the onions in it. It's absolutely fine. You could even do a pepper and egg sandwich made famous by The Sopranos if you wanted to. depending on how much you like the carrots or mushrooms, you may have carrots and mushrooms left over. So when I got to the end of this, I realized that I found a bonus meal by accident. I had leftover rice. I still had like a handful of that seasoning blend. And I had this one egg floating around that I could use, right? If you only did one egg sandwich. And I realized I could do fried rice, but I didn't have any soy sauce. And then it occurred to me that I am constantly moving that packet of soy sauce that everybody has, like in a drawer. You're always moving it around, but for some reason you never throw it away. If you had that packet, and by the way, start saving your packets because you never know you're going to need a packet, right? You would have been able to make fried rice with the mushrooms. You could have even used the string beans. I mean, I ended up eating the string beans a couple times because they're just really easy to throw in when you just feel like you need something green on the plate. You could even throw the string beans into a stir fry. You could have stir fried all of that. Leftover rice that's cold is the best rice for doing fried rice. You could have done that. You would have had your one egg. And if you could have rustled up that one little packet of soy sauce, because I know some of you are laughing because you all know you have that packet of soy sauce, right? How many times have you moved it out of your way and you're like, oh, I got to throw this away. Oh, I got to throw this away. Because you never seem to throw it away. It's always somewhere like in your utensil drawer, right? So if you had that, you had a bonus meal. So that brings us up to what? Is that 9 meals? 9 meals for a week for $35. Again, if you didn't do the tea and the honey, if you have the extra cash, do it. I think they're great things to keep around. I'm having some right now. And also, depending on how much milk you use, you might have also had some milk left over. Now, I'm pretty much done. I am going to do this again, but not next week because next week is Thanksgiving in the US. So that's a great idea, keeping them in the fridge because some of them do get rancid if they sit in your drawer too long. I've had ketchup that got really nasty, like vinegary, because it was God knows how old, right? So yeah, keep them in a little Tupperware container in your fridge. It'll keep them fresher longer. All right, so next week's Thanksgiving, so I can't do this, but I think the week after that, I'm going to do it again. And I'm really thinking about we've already talked about the turkey deal at Walmart, which is you can see it in the thumbnail, the festive turkey. By the way, I wish the thumbnail was sideways. I did it sideways, like normal landscape or whatever it is. And YouTube kept telling me it was too large to upload. So I had to flip it and do a head on. And I don't like the black bars on the side, but whatever. So I think what I'm going to do is they have this chicken deal. It's chicken leg quarters, and it's like $8.50 or something for 10 pounds. It works. Actually, it's cheaper than that. I think it was $8.27 when I looked it up. It works out to like 81 cents a pound for these, not even 8, it was like 8 cents a pound, something like that for these chicken leg quarters. Well, they have a ton of meat on them and their meat's delicious. When I get them cheap, I make 2 meals out of them. The first meal I make is a tortilla soup, which is dead easy. Anybody can do it. Again, I do it in the crock pot. You could, or do it in the Instapot, but you could do it in a crock pot or you could do it on the stove. And I then take some of the meat off of the chicken after I've cooked it for the soup, and I make tacos out of it, and it's fab. So I think we're going to do that, but not next week because of Thanksgiving, the week after. And one final thought, when you're in Dollar Tree, always check their sale area in the front of the store. This is a box of saltines, and you can see it's a little banged up over here. It's fine. They don't even feel broken. It doesn't feel like the saltines got broken. And so what if they are? I crushed them up anyway. I had actually just gotten a box of saltines. And I'd never opened it, like my supermarket's brand saltines. So any of the food that you see here that I'm not going to use, like the tea bags, I have tons of tea bags. The honey, I have a bunch of honey. I'm going to actually send to a food bank because for those of you not in the States, we're a third world country now and our people are starving. Yeah, but he's building a gold ballroom. Isn't that exciting? Really exciting. So a lot of a lot of us people that are the poors are actually donating to food pantries to take care of our neighbors. So a lot of this, like especially the, like the spices, the peanut butter. I have tons of peanut butter. I just bought some. I don't know about these though. I might keep these because these look fancy. They're going to go to the food bank because I don't really need them. So a lot of this is going to go to the food bank. Anyway, until next time, which will probably be not next Sunday, but the following Sunday. So that's, I think that's December. I hope that you all are doing well. I really hope that you have enough to eat. If you are having issues with food insecurity, there is a number in the US. I still believe it's 211 where you can get in touch with them. They're kind of the social worker version of information, and they can point you in the right direction of food pantries in your area. Please don't don't let your pride keep you hungry. Please reach out to these organizations in your area. If you need food, go get some help. You know, I hope that for anybody who is struggling, that this was helpful. Um, I definitely geared this, you might have noticed, for people that don't seem to know how to cook or plan menus or anything like that. I think there's a lot of young people that don't understand how to do this, and I get it. We don't really teach this anymore. We don't really have home economics in schools anymore, in spite of the fact that kids will have to feed themselves 3 times a day, 365 days a year. We choose not to teach them that. But I'm really glad I learned that algebra because I am still looking for X. Let me tell you. Anyway, until next time, everybody have a great Thanksgiving. We still have stuff to be thankful for. And until then, I hope you all have a great week and I will see you soon. Thank you for stopping by. Bye.